The McDonald's on Riverside Avenue wasn't special. Just another fast food restaurant off Highway 91 between a gas station and a discount tire shop. The kind of place truckers stopped for coffee, families grabbed quick dinners, and teenagers hung out after school because there was nowhere else to go in this small California town. But every Tuesday, at exactly 3 p.m., something sacred happened at the corner booth. Something most people never noticed, until the day everything changed. The McDonald's manager's voice shook the entire restaurant. "Everybody listen. You see this man? He's eating 6 Big Macs. Not because he's hungry, because 6 soldiers who sat at this table never made it home from Iraq. He's eating for his brothers. Show some goddamn respect." 3 weeks before that moment, Tyler Martinez thought he'd found TikTok gold. Tyler was 17, a senior at Riverside High. 50,000 TikTok followers, mostly for his prank videos and Weird People of Riverside series. He spent most afternoons at McDonald's with his crew, Madison, Jake, and Sophia, hunting for content. That's when he first noticed Frank Morrison. Frank was 60 years old, though the gray in his hair made him look older. He wasn't elderly, wasn't frail. Still had the broad shoulders and thick hands of someone who'd worked their whole life. But there was something broken in his eyes. Something Tyler's teenage brain couldn't understand and didn't try to. Every Tuesday, same time, same ritual. Frank would walk in wearing the same olive green jacket with a small American flag pin on the collar. He'd order at the counter. Never the kiosk. Always the counter. Same order every time. 6 Big Mac meals, please. 6 large Cokes. The first time Tyler saw it, he nudged Madison. "Yo, check this out. Dude ordered 6 meals." They watched Frank carry 2 trays to the corner booth, go back for the 3rd, methodically arrange everything, 6 meals, 6 drinks, then pull out 6 small photographs from his jacket pocket. "Is he waiting for people?" Sophia whispered. But no one came. Frank sat alone, placed 1 photo in front of each meal, picked up 1 burger, and started eating, slowly, mechanically, and crying, not sobbing, not dramatic, just tears rolling down his weathered face as he chewed. Like his eyes were disconnected from the rest of him. "Holy shit," Jake laughed. "He's crying into his Big Mac." Tyler already had his phone out. "This is content, boys." The first video got 3 million views. "Old dude crying at McDonald's." The comments were brutal. "Man's really crying over McDonald's. Dementia hitting? Different? Why not cry at home, though? LMAO, the Big Mac that's sad." Tyler posted every Tuesday. Week 2, 4 million views. Week 3, 5 million. He gave Frank a nickname, Crying Mac Guy. They started getting bolder, moving closer, better angles. Jake would pretend to tie his shoe near Frank's table. Madison would walk past slowly, filming. They caught the photos on camera. Young guys in military uniforms, but too blurry to make out details. "Probably his sons who don't visit," Tyler captioned. Sad but hilarious. Frank never seemed to notice them, or if he did, he didn't react. Just continued his ritual, arrange the meals, place the photos, eat 1 burger, cry, leave the rest untouched, sit for exactly 1 hour, clean up, leave. The 4th Tuesday was different. Tyler decided to go live. "All right, TikTok, we're here with Crying Mac Guy. Let's see if we can figure out what his deal is." 8,000 viewers immediately. Comments flying. Tyler approached closer than ever before, pretending to wait for the bathroom. His phone captured everything in HD. The photos were clearer now, 6 young men in desert camouflage. The names Frank whispered became audible. Rodriguez, to the first photo, a young Hispanic kid with a bright smile. Johnson, African-American teenager, maybe 19. Williams, blonde farm boy type. Davis, serious expression. Older, maybe 24. Thompson, Asian features, glasses. Miller, red-headed, goofy grin. Frank picked up Johnson's photo, held it gently. You would have been 37 today, brother. Your mama still writes me. Says your son looks just like you. Smart kid. Going to college next year. You'd be so proud. Tyler zoomed in. The live stream chat exploded. Wait, is he talking to dead people? Those military photos. This got dark. Keep filming, Frank continued, unaware. Rodriguez, your girl finally got married. Nice guy, treats her right. She named her firstborn after you. Little Ricky's 5 now. Williams, your dad sold the farm, couldn't run it without you, but he kept your tractor. Says it'll be there when you come home. Still waiting, even though... Frank's voice cracked. He set down his burger, covered his face with both hands. His shoulders shook. Tyler felt something uncomfortable in his chest, but pushed through. Yo, he's full-on crying now. This is peak content. That's when David Chen emerged from the back office. David was 41, the McDonald's manager. Bronze skin, black hair going gray at the temples. He'd managed this location for 3 years. Every Tuesday, he watched Frank from the office cameras. Never interfered. Until today. David had seen Tyler's previous videos. His daughter had shown him disgusted. Dad, they're making fun of a veteran at your store. David was a veteran himself. Afghanistan, 2010 to 2011. Nothing special, he'd say. Just a supply sergeant. But he knew the weight Frank carried. Recognized it in the way Frank sat, back to the wall facing the entrance, the way he counted people when they entered. The hypervigilance hidden under exhaustion. David had looked up Frank Morrison. Wasn't hard. Small town. People talked. Sergeant First Class Frank Morrison, 3rd Infantry Division, Team Leader, Firebase Phoenix, Iraq, 2007. The rest was classified, but David knew enough. Firebase Phoenix had been hit hard. IED attack, big one. David watched Tyler live streaming, watched the viewer count climbing, 10,000, 12,000. Watched the comments mocking a man who'd given everything. That's when David decided enough was enough. He walked out of the office, crossed the restaurant in 8 strides, grabbed Tyler's phone. Hey! What the hell, man? David didn't speak, just turned the phone to face himself and ended the stream. Then he spiked it on the tile floor. The screen shattered into a spiderweb of cracks. My phone! That's a $1,000 phone. Sue me, David said quietly. Then, louder. Everybody, listen! The restaurant froze. 43 customers, 8 employees, all turned. You see this man? David pointed at Frank, who looked up startled. His name is Frank Morrison. Sergeant Morrison. In March 2007, he was 42 years old. Team leader. 6 soldiers under his command. Frank started to stand. David, don't... No, Frank. They need to hear this. David's voice carried the authority of someone who'd given orders before. March 17th, 2007, St. Patrick's Day, Firebase Phoenix, Iraq. Sergeant Morrison was leading a supply convoy, 2 vehicles. He was in the lead Humvee. The restaurant was silent, except for the soft rock playing over the speakers. IED. Improvised explosive device. The second vehicle hit it. All 6 soldiers inside. Rodriguez, 22, from San Antonio. Johnson, 19, from Detroit. Williams, 24, from Iowa. Davis, 20, from Baltimore. Thompson, 23, from Seattle. Miller, 21, from Boston. David's voice stayed steady, but his eyes were fierce. Frank was 42. These kids were half his age. He'd promised their mothers he'd bring them home. He couldn't keep that promise. An older woman in the corner was crying now. A trucker had removed his cap. Every Tuesday for 17 years, Frank Morrison has come to this McDonald's, this exact table, because this is where they ate their last meal stateside. Right here, 7 soldiers laughing, joking about what they'd do when they got home, making plans, making promises. Frank was standing now, hands flat on the table. "David, please." David turned to him. "Frank, they turned you into a joke, a meme. Back to the crowd. They need to know who you are. Macs. 1 for each soldier who didn't come home. Frank eats 1, leaves 5, because someone has to remember. Someone has to keep the promise they made, that they'd meet here when they got back." Tyler's face was white. Madison was crying. Jake looked sick. "This man," David pointed at Frank again, "has carried 6 ghosts for 17 years. He was 42 when they died. He's 60 now. Those boys would be in their late 30s, early 40s. They'd have families, children, careers, lives. Instead, they're forever young in those photos." Frank finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but carried. "They weren't supposed to die. I was the senior NCO. I'd done 2 tours already. They were kids. First deployment. Johnson had just turned 19 2 weeks before. I gave him shit about being a teenager in a war zone." He picked up Johnson's photo. Kid from Detroit, loved his music. Played it so loud I threatened to make him walk back to base. He'd just laugh. "Sarge, when we get home, I'm taking you to a real concert, show you what music's supposed to sound like." Frank's hands shook. "His mother sends me his son's report cards. Straight A's. Kid's going to be a doctor." Johnson would have been so proud. He touched Rodriguez's photo. "Getting married in 2 weeks. Girl named Amy. Pregnant. Going to propose when he got home. Had the ring in his footlocker. I gave it to Amy at the funeral. She still wears it." Williams' photo. "Farm boy. Strongest kid I ever met. Could carry a full pack and his buddies too. Never complained. Wanted to take over his dad's farm. 600 acres of corn. His dad can't even look at a tractor now." Davis. "Baltimore kid, tough as nails. Joined to pay for college. Wanted to be a teacher. Said he was going to go back and fix his neighborhood. 1 kid at a time." Thompson. "Computer genius. Should have been at MIT, not Iraq. But 9/11 hit when he was in high school. Enlisted the day he turned 18. Said smart people had a duty to serve too." Miller. "Boston kid. Red Sox fanatic. We watched the games on this little TV someone sent. 2007 was their year, he kept saying. They won the World Series that October. Miller had been dead 7 months." Frank sat back down, the weight of 17 years visible in the slump of his shoulders. "I eat for them because someone has to. I tell their stories because someone has to. I come here because this is where they're alive. In my head. At this table. Tuesday, March 13th, 2007. 3 days before they died. Right here. Laughing. Tyler stepped forward. His voice cracked. "Mr. Morrison, God, I'm so sorry." Frank looked at him. Really looked. Saw a 17-year-old kid. Same age Johnson was when he enlisted. "You're a child," Frank said, not unkindly. How could you know? We don't talk about it. Come home, stay quiet, carry on. That's what we do. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe if we talked about it, you'd understand what that flag costs. Madison found her voice. The videos, I'll delete them. All of them. No, Frank said. Leave them. Let people see. Maybe someone else is eating alone for their brothers. Maybe they'll know they're not alone. Jake asked quietly, "Do you come alone every time?" Frank nodded. 17 years. Never missed a Tuesday. Even when I had pneumonia. Even when my truck broke down and I had to walk 8 miles. Because they would have shown up for me. But that's... Sophia stopped. That's so lonely. Frank almost smiled. I'm not alone. They're here, I feel them. Johnson making jokes, Rodriguez talking about his girl, Williams trying to explain farming to city boys, Davis and Thompson arguing about everything, Miller complaining about the Yankees. They're all here. Tyler wiped his face. He was crying now. Would you tell us more about them? For the first time in 17 years, Frank really smiled. You want to hear about them? Yes, Tyler said. Please. Frank gestured to the seats. Sit. They sat. Others moved closer. The truckers, the families, the employees. On break. Everyone gathered around the corner booth. Rodriguez, Frank began, touching the first photo. Kid could fix anything. Engines, radios, relationships. He was the glue. Kept everyone together. When Johnson and Miller started fighting about baseball, Rodriguez would start singing mariachi songs until they both begged him to stop. People laughed softly. Johnson was 19 but acted 30. Old soul, took care of everyone. His mom was single, raised 4 kids alone. Johnson sent his entire paycheck home, every penny. 8 MREs to save money while we were on base. I finally ordered him to keep some money for himself. Frank's eyes were distant, seeing another time. Williams, Iowa farm boy through and through. 6'3", built like a linebacker, gentlest soul you'd ever meet. Found this injured dog outside the wire, against regulations, but Williams snuck it food every day. Named it Corn, like Iowa corn. Dog followed him everywhere. After Williams died, that dog sat by his bunk for 3 weeks. Wouldn't eat. Finally had to send it to another unit. An older veteran in the corner said quietly, "We had a dog like that in Nam. They know?" Frank nodded. They know. He continued for an hour, story after story, 6 lives unfolding in a McDonald's in Riverside. The teenagers who'd mocked him were transfixed. Tyler never looked at his broken phone once. Finally, Frank checked his watch. It's past 4. They like to be done by 4. Said any meal that lasted more than an hour wasn't fast food? Any more? He started to gather the photos. Wait, Tyler said. Next Tuesday, can we come to remember them with you? Frank paused. It's not a party, son. I know, but you shouldn't be alone. Not anymore. Frank looked around the restaurant. 40 faces looking back, all nodding. All right, he said quietly. Next Tuesday. The next Tuesday, Frank arrived at 2:45, like always, early to make sure he got the right table. But it was already reserved. A small sign. Reserved for Sergeant Morrison and the Firebase Phoenix 7. Tyler was there, Madison, Jake, Sophia, but also others. 20, 30 people, veterans from the VFW families from town. David had closed the back section just for them. Frank stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. Tyler stood up. We're not here to intrude, Mr. Morrison. We're here to remember. You taught us their names, now we want to honor them too. Frank had to sit down. His legs wouldn't hold him. For the first time in 17 years, when the 6 meals arrived, other hands helped carry them. When Frank placed the photos, others leaned in to see. When he told stories, others listened. An elderly Vietnam vet shared his own story. A Gold Star mother talked about her son. A young active duty soldier on leave sat quietly, absorbing every word. Tyler had posted one final video the night before. I'm the idiot who made fun of a hero. This is Sergeant Frank Morrison. Every Tuesday for 17 years, he's eaten lunch with 6 brothers who died in Iraq. I turned him into a joke. I was wrong. Tomorrow, I'm going to sit with him to learn their names. Rodriguez, Johnson, Williams, Davis, Thompson, Miller. If you know a veteran, don't thank them for their service. Ask them for their story. Learn the names they carry. That's how we really honor them. 30 million views. But more importantly, it changed everything. Now every Tuesday, the corner booth at the Riverside McDonald's is full. Frank still brings 6 photos, still orders 6 meals, still cries. But he's not alone. Sometimes Tyler brings his guitar and plays the songs Johnson loved. Sometimes veterans from 3 towns over come to sit quietly. Sometimes Gold Star families come to share their own photos. Frank is 60 now. In 20 years. He'll be 80 if he makes it that long. But he won't be alone. Because Tyler made a promise. Madison, Jake, and Sophia witnessed it. When you can't come anymore, Tyler had said, I'll come. I'll bring the photos. I'll order 6 Big Macs. I'll remember their names. Frank had broken down completely then. 17 years of grief pouring out in a McDonald's while a 17-year-old kid held him. They would have liked you, Frank had whispered. Johnson, especially. He would have liked you. Now when Frank tells his stories, he adds new ones. How Tyler learned Johnson's favorite songs, how Madison researched Rodriguez's family, how Jake wrote to William's father, how Sophia started a scholarship in Davis's name. 6 soldiers died in Iraq. But their memory lives on in a McDonald's in Riverside, California, where every Tuesday at 3 p.m. people gather to remember that freedom isn't free, that promises matter, and that sometimes the greatest honor we can give the fallen is simply to say their names. Rodriguez, Johnson, Williams, Davis, Thompson, Miller, forever young, forever remembered. Forever held in the heart of a 60-year-old sergeant who kept his promise, and in the hearts of all those who finally learned to keep it with him.